Some infants face long-term eating challenges, which creates a necessity for using the G-tube to ensure adequate nutrition and growth. There wasn't much information available when my son got his G-tube, but due to a lot of trial and error over the last year and 8 months, my husband and I were able to come up with quite a bit of helpful information to assist other families facing this unpredictable obstacle. So stay tuned, because this video is the first of our G-tube Parent Survival series. Enjoy. I remember when my son was about to be released from the NICU. I was so afraid to feed him. I mean, I had watched the nurses in the hospital feed him, but I was nervous about feeding him all the time with a feeding tube. What I found is that I am proficient at feeding my son through the G-tube. Not only am I proficient, but I have made this whole situation our normal. Of course, we want our son to eat by mouth ultimately, but right now, this is our normal and we rock it. My husband and I, we rock it. Feeding through a G-tube is not nearly as intimidating as I once thought it was. The older my son gets, the more active he gets, the more he's just into everything. He doesn't like to be tied down. But I think a little piece of him understands that this is his normal right now. And I think he gives us a break when he just cooperates. You know, active babies don't know how to cooperate. Normally, I feed my baby in a onesie. It makes the feeding tube less visible, and it also secures it against his stomach. I also use a belly band when he wears loose shirts during his feeds. So far, it's been a great investment because it allows my baby to be fully clothed while he eats. Another plus is that it secures his G-tube everywhere we go. My son barely knows he's wearing it. I found out a long time ago that having my son feed in a SNAP onesie makes the feeding tube less appealing. Now granted, he might still play with it, but it's not nearly as often as he would if his onesie wasn't snapped. I feed my son in multiple places depending on his mood. If he's extremely active or alert, then I'll feed him in his high chair. If he's sleepy, but it's not that late in the evening, then I'll feed him in his bouncer. If we're going on a road trip or we'll just be away for an extended period of time for whatever reason, then I'll feed him in either his car seat or his stroller. If it's the end of the night, if it's the end of the day and my son is exhausted, then his bedtime feed is in his crib. What I won't do and what I don't do is force my son to feed. If he is inconsolable, we just do something else for a few minutes. And normally that allows him to reset and we're able to feed without a problem. No problem. What I've also realized since my son has been feeding through the G-tube is that sometimes it's hard to stay on schedule. So you have to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. Because my son is active, we have a lot of space for wiggle room because we never know what he's going to do. And that's okay. It's already stressful enough having a child that feeds on the G-tube, but to be stressed about a schedule too? Yeah, don't be stressed about a schedule. It is imperative to have flexibility when it comes to the feeds. That's why we feed our son in different places. We used to feed him in the same place when he was much, smaller, when he was younger. But the older he gets, the more we've had to use our imagination to feed him. And it works. We have our tricks that we've come up with over this year and some change, and it works for us. Because my son likes rough play, I tire him out between feeds, especially the last two. The final feed of the day is his bedtime feed, and when done right, He sleeps throughout the night without any problems, which is great for his parents. When my husband and I realized how active our son was going to be, we were going to a lot of appointments because he had just been released from the hospital, and we were trying to get a good routine started for his day-to-day life. And we were advised to tire him out. At the time, he wasn't walking yet, so it wasn't a whole lot of tiring out we could really do, because we were kind of nervous, about we were just nervous. When he was released from the hospital, he was released on oxygen, and he had a few other limitations. And I don't know, we just kind of didn't really want to wear him out, but our son seemed to like the rough play. So over time, this is a bond that my husband and my son have. My son loves to play with my husband. He loves that rough play. And sometimes he comes around me thinking I'm going to be playing rough too. And mama don't play that. He is all over the place. But he's all over the place in a good way. He is exploring his environment, and he's on fast forward like all the time. Like, there's no pause. He's just going. And even when it's bedtime, he don't really want to go to sleep. But once he winds down, and I mean really winds down, he goes. My son's nap time cutoff limit is 6:30 p.m. so that he has the best chance of sleeping throughout the night. That time is based on a bedtime that falls between 10:30 and 11:30 p.m. Your child might go to bed earlier than mine, so adjust accordingly. When my son started getting more active, my husband and I had a hard time getting him to go to sleep throughout the night or sleep throughout the night. He would, sometimes he'd wake up and he'd just be up. So that's when we realized that we needed to adjust his nap times. We used to let him sleep like all the time, but because of the inconsistencies throughout the night, meaning when we had to go to work, he had us up all night. It really made the difference, adjusting that nap time, like having that cutoff limit. That cutoff limit has really helped us tremendously. Across the board, we sleep better because he's sleeping like he should. If you'd like to see more content like this, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.